Alright, hey guys, what's going on? This is my video where we're going to be looking at SKT versus Samsung Game 3. And spoiler alert, this is the last game of the series. I wanted to take a couple days, like a break from the first two games that SKT played because they subbed in blank for this game, which arguably meant that they were on their last leg. And I did talk about how Peanut was not able to put in as much pressure. I don't really remember the third game that well. I kind of fell asleep, actually. It was like 4 or 5 a.m. No, it's definitely like 5 a.m. On Saturday morning when I was watching it. So I've gotten like a good break, and now we can like really analyze this and not think about what's been happening this series, but really think about the game directly. We don't need that, and we need our epic pen so that we can go ahead and draw. There we go. So I'm not going to see major changes coming out in the bans. You're still going to see Jace and Casting gets banned out this time, and Rakan gets banned out this time. I don't remember if those were the same bans, but all of those are very strong. Rakan being super strong. Jace is super strong in the 7.18 patch meta, just because his top lane carry potential and split push potential is really, really, really huge. And then Caston kind of denies SKT the option of a 1-3-1 because they can't leave Galio open, because Samsung will take Galio first pick. And there's not really any other viable mid laners to run a 1-3-1. So it pushes Faker onto like a more mage oriented champion. Unless Faker were to pull out something like an assassin, in which case, like the only way they could run a 1-3-1 is with Fizz or Echo. And arguably Fizz is better than Echo. Arguably, Echo is safer than Fizz, but we'll see what happens here. SKT do decide to ban Janna, which they did not decide to do in the previous games. I'm pretty sure Samsung played Janna both previous games, and there's the Galio ban, which I already mentioned. Samsung Galaxy go ahead and they opt for Sejuani. Strong, remember, long range engage. That's really what you're looking for, and then a primary tank. Sejuani provides both those qualities very well. SKT go ahead and they lock in Tristana, which is much different. Remember, they, in the previous two games, locked in Varus and Gragas in the first rotation. Remember, SKT chose to be on red side in the second game and follow up with that second Varus Gragas pick. So this is the third game Samsung actually chose to be on blue side. Samsung's actually going to go ahead and they pick up the Varus. Let's see what they do with it. They're probably going to build a different team comp with it, because remember, I don't really classify Varus as a primary carry unless you really put a whole bunch of resources into him. He's more of like a poke, siege, and picks. He's got great pick potential with his ultimate, which is on a moderate cooldown in the mid game. Then you see Leona coming out from SKT. Now this is really interesting because it means SKT is going to be playing very aggressively in the bot lane. And I'll have you know that because Lulu Varus was picked, that actually gives SKT the freedom to go ahead and pick Leona, because they knew who they're laning into. The only thing that Samsung could do right now in order to get out of this lane that they may or may not want to be in, Lulu's not that bad into Leona, but Leona definitely is great at jumping on Varus in the early game, just because Varus is not too long range. Remember, he's 575, which is 25 more than most carries. But Leona's going to be jumping on with her Zenith Blade. That's her E. And with that Zenith Blade, you're going to see lots of engage coming from Blank and Tristana, bang on Tristana. So the only thing, as I was saying before, the only thing that Samsung could do to get out of this is to maybe put Lulu in the mid or the top lane, and which is it's not the worst decision in the world. Don't get me wrong. Like Lulu is actually really strong with AP, and remember her ultimate, which it gives you health and provides that immediate knock-up and the massive size increase. That has a 0.5 AP scaling ratio, and her shield, which is her E, has a 280 base shield plus 0.6 AP. So you are looking at a very decent laning Lulu. That would be good for creating a hyper carry, maybe in the mid lane, or trying to help out that Varus and running a double support on Varus. Anyway, you see Shen getting taken out. Obviously, he's got a lot of side lane pressure, and you see the Kennen getting taken out because SKT don't want to play that matchup again. I'm pretty sure Kennen was played by Cuvée very successfully in the second game, I believe. Gnar and Talia are taken out, so Talia is taken away from Faker, so SKT can't really force anything. And Gnar is taken away from Huni, so that they can't really rely on their team fights as much, which would be something they might want to do because they went for Leona. Samsung go ahead and they pick up Malzahar and Cho'Gath, and remember Cho'Gath is good in the top lane. He's definitely going to be providing some pressure. Not really that much pressure against Trundle. I don't know how many people watching this know, but remember Trundle is actually a really good pick in Cho'Gath. And Trundle is generally like going to win that lane. So this could be a few different Trundles. It could be Titanic, Triforce. Or it could be Ravenous, Split. Both of these are capable of split pushing, and both are very, very good at split pushing. The Ravenous has a few different build paths, but the Titanic Triforces are very, very good. Was very good. It's still good, not as good in patch 7.18, but still viable. And what else did SKT pick? They went ahead and they went for Karma. So you're actually seeing SKT run for a more defensive and reliable game. And then you see the Malzahar also returning for game 3. And Malzahar has been played by Crown. It's obvious that Crown understands Malzahar's kit, and he understands how tanky he is. So he is very safe in the mid lane. Not very safe at the early levels, but it doesn't really matter that much in this matchup. So let's go ahead and break it down one by one. So in the top lane, you're actually going to see Trundle. Do we want a different color for this? Trundle is greater than Cho'Gath for, I don't know, up until like level 9. There's going to be a couple times where Cho'Gath is actually able to kill Trundle, especially around level 6. But Trundle can get a CS lead. So you might see, let's go ahead and draw that again. Trundle up 15 CS at 10 minutes. Then, oh wait, they didn't switch Sejuani and Varus yet. Hold on, let me just make it so that it's very clear to everyone who's watching. We're just not going to talk about the junglers, so let's just leave it like that for now. Not yet. So in the Malzahar Karma matchup, Karma can provide a lot of poke in the early game. She's not necessarily weak to Malzahar, but you're probably just going to see this as a sway lane. as Karma is definitely safer. So there are going to be more opportunities where Crown could be in danger. But neither party necessarily wins this lane. If you really think about it, like Karma can't really heavily aggress onto Malzahar without letting Malzahar kill her through Malzahar setting up his E and his W and his Q and then ulting her under his Q, and getting that full combo that could possibly kill Karma. Whereas she does have poke and Malzahar doesn't really have that much poke. And she does have a speed up, which Malzahar will not have. Remember, her E gives her movement speed, and Malzahar does not have this. So she can't kill Malzahar, and Malzahar can't necessarily aggress onto her because she says that speed up, so she can kind of avoid taking extended fights with him. So you're not really going to see. I can't really speculate as to whether or not there's going to be a lot of CS drifting in one direction or the other, but there is a little bit of a discrepancy where Faker is going to have a slight upper hand. And I apologize for anyone who I'm going too fast for, but I'm on a limited time basis right now, and I'm trying to get this video out today, so I apologize. But and in the bottom lane, you're going to see a lot of poke come out early onto Leona, and the goal is to get Leona low before level 2/3, because especially at level 3, Leona can aggress onto Varus, and then Trist follows up with E, then W onto Varus, and then she can also W away after that, after she procs the explosion on her E. So they can actually blow up Varus very easily. And remember, the lane is going to be pushing towards the side of Samsung. So let me go ahead and erase that. That was just the details. Make it easy. This way, both ways, and then this way. That's what's going to be happening. So you're going to see a CS lead of about maybe plus or 15, right? And then you're going to see a CS lead 15, and then not speculatable, not apparent, not easily apparent. That is what I should say. It is not easily apparent that there is going to be a large CS lead in the mid lane. Now, as for the junglers, what do the junglers want to do in this game? Because the junglers ideally cause everything that happens in the game. So Gragas can gank top lane early to snowball Trundle. And this would be good because you deny Cho'Gath. And if you deny Cho'Gath levels and items, he scales really slowly. And then you can't really do anything mid lane unless you have ultimate. So until level 6, you're not really worrying about the Karma Malzahar matchup, and really you just never have to worry about the Karma Malzahar matchup, because theoretically Karma should always be safe enough to not be ganked. The only time that you'll see Gragas go mid lane is if Karma has no mana and she needs to back, and then Blank can go cover a CS wave for her. On the other hand, bottom lane, Gragas is going to be very happy to go bottom lane, because Gragas and Leona are going to very seriously be targeting the Varus and the Lulu, specifically the Lulu in the early game, just because Lulu doesn't have an extra barrier on top of her heal. And if you can kill Lulu, then you can kill Varus a lot easier. because once Lulu's gone, you got no shields, no heals, no polymorph, nothing annoying. And so remember, early pressure top, lots of pressure bot all the time. As for Sejuani, you need, because it is apparent that SKT need early pressure top, or want early pressure top, Sejuani needs to be aware of this and be prepared to prevent heavy losses. As for mid lane, Sejuani actually can gank mid lane, just because if Sejuani, Sejuani can gank mid lane after level 6. And theoretically this is possible and actually preferable on Samsung Galaxy side, where I said Blank can gank mid lane, but it's not necessarily his job to. Ambition can actually gank mid lane, and it can be his job because Sedge R leads into Mal's setup, into Mal's R, and they can essentially one-shot Karma. So it definitely is not difficult. The only difficult part is if Karma plays safe. It is not a fruitful encounter. No fruit to bear. Okay, bottom lane, Sejuani also needs to help out bottom lane and make sure that bottom lane doesn't get dived. Same as top. So Sejuani is playing very defensively this game, and Gragas is supposed to be playing very offensively this game. And depending on how this jungle matchup goes, you'll see a discrepancy in gold, where that gold can actually, or well, I didn't draw everything. There, that's everything. That too. Okay. And there's nothing other. There's nothing else that's confirmed and aggressive. I'm adding Leona to this because she's confirmed. Because her ultimate is very long range and her Zenith Blade is actually semi-long range, and they're very easy to hit. So it can be very fruitful for Leona to roam, and you actually may see Leona roam into the mid lane to help Karma. So depending on how this variation of map movements turns out, you could see Fed Trundle, you could see Fed Tristana, you could see Fed Malzahar, and all of these clauses are possible. Alright, so without any further speculation on what the teams need to do in the mid and late game, which I'll just do during the game, because I remember I'm in a little bit of a rush. I got 40 minutes to go over this game, so we're probably gonna skip through a lot of time where nothing happens. And I apologize if people want to watch the game too, but you can watch the game with the shoutcasters. I'm sure it's a lot more fun than listening to me analyze. Early invade by SKT. They did this in game 2 as well. Lots of damage going onto Cube, but did not get any flashes. Varus Barrier was burned in a level 1 trade in the bottom lane. That's actually really interesting. With Varus, and actually, well, think about it this way. Varus essentially does not need Barrier, because Tristana doesn't have Barrier, because Tristana doesn't have an extra heal. So now Tristana and Varus are actually in the same spot. So Varus has essentially gained a level 1 lead, And with this lead, he's actually going to use the fact that he took Doran's shield to up in HP. And he's going to take this time to get up in HP while Leona is not going to be engaging. So Varus actually saves his potion. He does not have to use it here, and he can use it later after Leona engages onto him, and he can use Lulu for support on that. However, Wolf does have Ignite, so Ruler needs to be very smart about when he chooses to use his potion. And if he's very smart about when to use the potion, they actually have a really good lead in this lane, in which he used Barrier very early. And I'll also note that, remember, Barrier is about a 3-minute cooldown, so that will actually be up at 4:45. But remember, this also gives SKT a window where, because that barrier is down, and because they have Ignite, and the enemy has a heal, in which they can deny that heal with an Ignite, they can actually now engage onto Varus or onto Lulu with Leona before the 4:45 minute mark. And you see Gragas here. Gragas can actually go red, Wolves, blue, and actually come bottom lane and be bottom lane around the 4-minute mark. Or possibly even the 3:30 mark. And if he's actually able to use Flash E, they can look for fruitful stuff here. So that's what's going on at bottom lane. I didn't realize so much was happening so quickly. Wow. You might see them play a little passive now. Bang doesn't want to lose a lot. I actually disagree with this Varus using his potion now. He definitely wants to get more poke out, and he probably didn't need to use his potion. He probably could have just waited, because they're pushing. Oh wait, no, they're not pushing. How many minions are there away? No, they're actually far away. Never mind. Maybe I don't think Varus needed to use his potion, but it is apparent that if Varus were to say not use potion, then at level 2, Leona flash EQ. And in this encounter, Varus absolutely must flash the EQ. And if he doesn't flash the EQ, then he's like fucked. So it's essentially like a medium risk situation where he could have saved potion for a little while. But now he's in an even spot with Bang. He's in a very even spot. Although they're zoning off of CS, because Leona can't do anything before level 2. So it's actually really good that they're zoning, and if they get this experience lead, they're going to be able to keep it. And then Gragas will actually have to come bot in order to tip the experience lead. You are seeing a gank from Gragas in the top lane, as I told you in the pregame chat. Gragas needs to get an early gank onto Cuvee. There's the W, and then there's the first blood, and it's actually given over to Huni, so that's really, really good. And you also see Sejuani coming into her blue side jungle now. She's done almost a full clear. You're going to see that she's actually going to be really behind now, because now that Gragas got a kill, Gragas is going to be very happy. He's level 3, and he's got a little bit of experience. He's going to go red and race and wolves and blue, and he's going to be like level 5, and he can gank bottom lane when Varus, Lulu are still level 4. And remember, he does, or well, actually, if he does do that, if he does wait till level 5, he may not get bottom lane before the 4:45 minute mark, which is where he wants to be before then, so that they can abuse the fact that Varus's barrier is on cooldown. So you might actually see him take a pathway red, wolves blue bot, in which he will be level 4. And if he's level 4, then it'll be, I mean, he won't be as absurd, but you're still going to see Varus being in a very unsafe position. Huni's actually choosing to back here because he knows QV is going to use his teleport and the lane's pushing into him. So he said, alright, you're missing a bunch of minions because it was pushing in. QV probably missed minus like 3 minions, maybe 4. And now Huni can actually soak this up under tower. Here's a replay of the exact occurrence. Huni hit level 2 right after QV hit level 2, and Blank go ahead and hit the knockup right before Huni could secure another auto attack. So very clean, very easy. Because Cho'Gath was still level 2, and because Cho'Gath actually opted to take Rupture, which arguably is a good level 2 move, rather than the Silence, which is a 1.5 second silence at level 1. It might be 1.75. I think it's 1.5 though. He couldn't actually silence Gragas and maybe flash away, or silence Gragas and wait for the E and then flash away from the E. But then he's also in this situation risking Gragas flash E-ing him. And how Gragas would do that is Gragas would actually have to predict his flash. He would have to predict his flash, where he flashes, and do it at the same time that he does, which would be very impressive. But it is possible. Faker's actually getting a really good push into mid lane. He's low on mana, but he is actually zoning Malzahar off of a lot. He missed the Mantra Q there, which would have provided a lot of damage and maybe even dive potential since Blank's full health. You do see we're at the 4:45. We're past the 4:49-minute mark. So Varus is actually have his barrier now. Blank actually opted to go into his blue side jungle to take his blue first, just in case Sejuani wanted to go and try to recover blue because she lost her blue in the beginning. And then go back to red side and then come back towards mid, and now he's going to take it back. And now he has a couple options. He can go into bottom lane and gank anyway, and try and recover the EXP lead that Varus and Lulu have due to that level 1 zoning. Or he can go to his golems here, which will give him level 5, and then he can go top lane and try and really abuse the fact that Cho'Gath is now behind. So he's got 2 options. There's no immediate pressure on the dragon. You won't see immediate pressure on the dragon until about the 9-minute mark, because it's a stone dragon. So it's not a fire dragon, so it doesn't need to be taken too early. It just needs to be taken in consideration for both of these teams. The stone dragon would be particularly good for SKT because they have Trundle as a split pusher, and Trundle is extremely good at taking down towers. Looks like Faker's coming into mid lane. Wow, actually, that was beautiful. That was very clean. Let's talk about a few things first. Faker hasn't backed yet. He's just been playing patiently ever since he pushed Crown under tower. So he has a little bit of mana now. He probably was using it for wave clear. You're seeing a small CS lead actually develop in the side of Faker. You see 11 CS on the side of Trundle right now, but you see a huge CS disparity in the bottom lane because of that level 1 and because Gragas ignored bottom lane. If Gragas didn't ignore bottom lane, you'd see Tristana actually pushing into the other two. Watch that again. Okay, so Faker takes off Crown's passive, which is the passive that makes him take 90% reduced damage for like 0.25 seconds. And makes him immune to like the abilities that he takes. And he actually procs it with his W, which is neither a CC or a primary damaging ability. PDA. And due to that, you actually Crown now is not safe. So blank then shows due to vision, and as soon as Crown flashes, you see the flash E from blank, and you also see a flash follow up from Faker to make sure that the snare from Faker's W, the W on Karma, snares him, and then you see a follow up Q, and is that a mantra Q? Yeah, that's a mantra Q coming from Faker. So that's a very clean kill. And very good pressure by blank, knowing that he has control of the jungle right now. Faker can now push in. He knows Crown has teleport, so he knows Crown isn't going to be losing that much. He's just trying to kill the minions before Crown survives, so that Crown has to TP to the tower instead of TPing to a minion, therefore letting Faker back. And now Faker can back, and he can actually walk back to lane because he's Karma. Whoa, you see him getting tier 2 boots. He's going to get back to lane and not miss any CS. There's the replay. Very clean. Whoa, what's going on? It appears that Faker teleported top lane as his teleport is down in order to get a dive onto Cuvee, because Trundle was level 6 and Faker was level 6, and Cuvee was only level 5. Cuvee happened to use Flash, so nothing was particularly burned for SKT, but now Faker's in the top lane, Blank is in the mid lane, and Malzahar is still in the mid lane, and you see Sejuani on the bottom side. And we don't know if Sejuani, let me just check. No, Sejuani did pass through SKT vision, so you know that Tristana and Leona are actually backing off towards under their tower right now, and you know that they actually can't get dived unless Ruler and Core JJ, specifically Ruler, hits level 6. And because of everything that's happening right now, you see that SKT is going to get a lot of turret pressure in the top lane, and they actually may even get First Blood Tower. Just because Trundle is absurdly good at pushing. Huni's holding on to the tower to make sure he can deny as much as he can. He's level 6, so he's not necessarily scared because Cuvee was not level 6 yet. Faker returns into the lane after leaving and plays around with Cuvee. Good usage of spells. He might be able to kill him if he gets his W up again. But there was a minion wave. That's a shame. Alright, if anyone wants to see that again, remember it's, up here. Faker is going to be Q, W, or starts with W, follows up with Q to get the slow, walks out of the rupture, then chases again, gets Mantra Q to slow again, then walks up again, tries to get W, uses shield to block tower damage, but cannot get another Q off due to the minions. And he will be hard pushing top lane, so top lane will be pushing in to this tower, which forces Cho'Gath to actually be in the top lane at the time. And because Cho'Gath is in the top lane, and now top lane tower is gone, you might see Faker return. Faker might actually go bottom side, or Trundle's going to go bottom side. Either way, one of these two solo laners are going to go mid lane, and one of them's going to go bottom side, and after the mid lane is pushed out, the other will come bottom side as well. They're probably going to pair this up with Blank coming bottom side. So Blank just recalled. He's probably going to go straight to his wolves. Blue buff might be up in order to give to Karma, or he'll take it himself. And he can go to bot side as well. Tristana just backed. Odd amount of respect. There is a... Okay. So Varus here, right, so this tower is low. So you might be thinking to yourself that it's odd that Varus and Lulu just backed off this tower because Tristana just backed and it's low and they could return tower, which would decrease the gold lead by about 900, 750 plus local. And with that 750 plus local, it would kind of bounce that disparity that was created in the top lane. Instead, Varus and Lulu both opt for a back. Whereas if they had pushed the tower, it might not go down, but it also might be in critical position, meaning as long as they rotate more people than SKT does into the bottom lane, they can get the tower for free, just by getting 1 or 2 autos off onto it. But instead they decide to back and they get their items, and now you might see a couple different things happen. Actually, Tristana returns bottom lane. We can speculate a lot from the items that are actually being built right now. You know that Varus is going for Gensus. So he's waiting for a power spike. And you saw that he actually went Merc Treads. So he spent 800 gold that Tristana has not spent yet. Although it looks like Tristana is going to be buying the attack speed boots. So that same 800 gold will be coming out from Tristana, but in a different manner. And Tristana is going to be going for BF Sword, and she might go BF to Zeal to Infinity into Static. Or she's going to go BF into Static into Infinity. And remember, boots can be bought at any time. But what I'm actually speculating on is Karma actually goes for this item, Chalice. Meaning Karma is going to be playing more of like a defensive build and not being a primary carry. Karma will not be a primary carry like you saw maybe Bjergsen get a pentakill one time because he actually built like a primary carry. Whereas rather, SKT has constructed a team comp in which they don't have an Ardent Sensor support, but they actually choose a mid laner that's going to be building Ardent Sensor. I don't know. I think it's Sensor with a C. It doesn't really matter. So that Ardent is actually going to be going in Faker, and that Ardent Sensor can actually apply to everyone. It'll be particularly good on... Actually, it'll be particularly good on Tristana, Trundle, and Leona. If anybody remembers, Leona's ult actually got buffed where she gets 5 autos that proc Sunlight. And Sunlight does damage equal to... I think it scales from like 20 to like 170. So you are going to see a couple Sunlight procs come out in the fight. That might be really easy for... That might be really easy for Leona to get off with the Ardent Sensor, as you're going to see Mantra E come out. Mantra E. Because everybody's going to get speed up, everyone's going to get Ardent Sensor, everyone's going to be shielded. There's just going to be a lot coming out, and that's really the strength of the mid lane Karma. It's kind of like a super support, because as I was talking about in the pregame, Lulu being drafted specifically for the amount of damage that she can put out. For the amount of shielding and healing that she can do, and her ultimate drafted as a laner for that. You're seeing lane Karma, which is going to be very good at giving everybody on the team help, rather than Lulu just primarily helps one person. And that's why you usually think of Lulu as like an anti-assassin. We gotta speed through this game. So you are gonna see Leona go into mid lane a lot because she did buy Moby boots. Gragas has just started on the Dragon now. Tristana and Leona pushed bottom lane before Varus and Lulu made it there. So they could have roamed up, or maybe is the wave just close to the tower. I can't really see it right now. Karma did come down from mid lane to help Gragas go ahead and get this dragon. And now that Dragon's down, there's going to be 6 minutes where SKT is going to be in control of Rift Herald because SKT got top tower already. And they have a Mountain Dragon, so they are going to be very inclined to take top tower. You are going to see bottom tower come down for SKT though, and once bottom tower goes down, you're probably going to see Tristana and Leona rotate into the top lane, and when they and that's going to be after Cho'Gath pushes out and Varus and them push out. Karma has roamed down into the bottom side. She looks like she took out her own red plant there to prevent any strong dives. You see a huge engage come out from Faker, which is going to be disrupted by Crown, and a lot of damage is going to come onto Leona. Huni comes in from the backside with a teleport, and then he dives onto Crown, but instead focus is going to be shifted onto Core JJ, who does not have flash. So SKT is going to be pulling in a +2 for that team fight. And let's go ahead and look at the engage again, just because it's particularly important. Karma engages, walks away. Leona goes ahead and soaks up all the damage. Gragas ult stops Crown's ultimate. And then there's a disengage coming out from Samsung, but that disengage is not going to be successful because SKT rotated 5 players, and they rotated Huni behind enemy lines. And with Huni behind enemy lines, they were able to pincer, and because they pincered, they are now ahead. So they're ahead about 2,000 gold now, and they're going to move into the mid lane. Mid lane, lots of damage going to be going into Crown, going to be taken down easily. Wow, it's hard to believe that SKT loses this game. Let's just take a state of the game question. SKT is up 2,700 gold, which is by no means the end of the game, but it is a very, very strong lead to have. There's the teleport. Oh wow, that's actually nice. He was able to use the enemy red plant. It's a very good ward to have. That was an odd Gragas E. That didn't work. Core JJ just stalling, waiting for time. Very good Varus Q coming out onto Leona there, but not going to be able to provide the damage that is necessary. Maybe if he had taken a different angle and not traveled through someone else, he might have gotten the kill. Wait, whoa, what's going on? Okay. Crown walking through the river, gets caught out by Blank, lots of damage going to be going on to him, gets rooted by Faker's W, counter engage coming out from Ambition, Varus ult goes down onto Gragas, and then Gragas gets taken down by 4 members. SKT is forced to disengage. A little bit of gold going back towards Samsung, Gragas' first death. Samsung really is just trying to hold out here, so because they have to hold out until Cho'Gath can really stand up to Trundle, which may never be the case, to be honest. It actually may never be the case that Cho'Gath is able to stand up to Trundle, but he certainly has a lot of pressure when doing it. That was a very good barrier and a very bad ult by Vang. So this is what I was talking about when I was talking in the pregame. Leona E's onto Varus. Then Varus gets E'd, and then he gets W'd on, and then he just gets one shot. It was just a misplay by Bang. Bang did not realize that Varus's barrier was off cooldown as well. They could have definitely killed him there. And Faker came up from the backside. Who could have sped them all up with Mantra E. That was actually very bad by SKT. They could have gotten both kills there, and with those kills they could have actually gotten bottom lane tower. And that actually may be one of the reasons that SKT was not able to win this game. Faker is behind enemy lines right now. He's getting pincered. Ambition goes ahead and gets onto him. He's going to get frozen, and it looks like he's going to be taken down without getting anything. Flashes over the wall, but realizes that Crown is on the other side. Yeah, Faker Not really sure what you're doing there, buddy. Big question mark on Faker. Faker really, like, that is a lot of disrespect for Samsung. Like, assuming that Samsung did not have vision there is just so disrespectful. Anyway, Cuvée actually did teleport in here. Cuvée was not able to get his ultimate onto someone, so he goes ahead and the ult minion, and they're going to push this bottom lane, and they're going to get this bottom lane tower. Unfortunately, because Huni's so fed, Huni is able to use Ravenous Hydra and his natural kit to push towers really quickly, and in the meantime, Gragas actually was able to secure Rift Herald. So, and a mid lane tower goes down in favor of Samsung. So huge trades just happened. Huge trades. All right, there's a 1 for 0 in bottom lane in the favor of Samsung. Then top lane inner tower gets taken for SKT. SKT also get Rift Herald, but then SKT or Samsung get the mid lane tower and the bottom lane tower. Neither of which are First Blood Tower, and they're both outer towers. So arguably, you could say that Samsung didn't lose a lot this trade, but they didn't, or they definitely closed the gold gap a little bit. They closed the immediate gold gap. What I mean by that, immediate gold gap, that's important. Samsung, or not Samsung, SKT is a Rift Herald. Meaning, with the Rift Herald, they can potentially take at least one tower, at minimum, when used correctly in a lead, one tower. Meaning the gold lead is going to go from what it is now, which is exactly 1100, back to about 2000. And remember, SKT had a peak gold lead of about 2700. So you see Samsung definitely did like whittle that down a little bit. I mean, hold on. Again, this is important. Faker has no reason to be here. And when he sees this as worded, he should really like be thinking to himself, wow, I fucked up. I ran out of water, so we're running a little dry here. Anyway, SKT go ahead and they rotate Tristana and Leona into the mid lane. They put Karma in the bottom lane. They put Huni in the top lane, which is arguably not what I would do. I would have Karma in the top lane, and I would have Huni in the bottom lane, just because Huni is really good at pushing towers. Great pushing. And because he has great pushing, he can get outer towers really quickly and safely. So what SKT says is, if Huni does push top lane and we force a fight somewhere else in the map, then it feels to me, by leaving Huni top lane, you want to drag Cho'Gath somewhere else so that Huni's able to get this inhibitor, because he's able to push it so quickly. But Cho'Gath actually doesn't have teleport right now, and because Cho'Gath doesn't have teleport, you know that Cho'Gath is always going to be bottom or top lane with respect to Huni. And because Cho'Gath is always going to be there feels no reason for Huni to be pushing a inhibitor tower, because even if Huni pushed up that far, as long as Cho'Gath's there, then someone else can be there too, and if someone else can be there, then Huni's in an unsafe position and he's not able to push the tower. Whereas if you're on the outer side of the map, Huni's able to push this tower, and he's able to have support from his team, anybody who's in the jungle and the river, as long as SKT remains control of this sector here. So they are, this setup is backwards for the side of SKT. Anyway, as for Samsung, Cho'Gath just needs to respond to Trundle, and they just need to play defensively and look for picks where they can, because remember, they are really good at getting picks. So they just R, and then R, and they kill someone. It's not that hard. And it's not necessarily in that order either. It could be this one, and then this one, and then this one. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I wouldn't necessarily put Malzahar's ult first unless he actually gets in range of someone, unless you call a Flash R. Flash R 1, 2, 3, or Flash R 1, 2, 3, and then you have all the permutations possible. But that's not really necessary. Okay. SKT is putting pressure onto the dragon. They actually rotated. Okay, so what they did is they pushed top lane with Trundle. This is good wave management. QV has no teleport, and then Trundle goes ahead and he roams down. So they have 5 people on dragon, and Samsung only has 4. And because of this discrepancy, SKT is able to get the dragon for free. Unfortunately, it's only a water dragon, and it's just 1 water dragon, so it's not exactly that important. What SKT really should be thinking right now is the next dragon is going to spawn at 23 minutes, meaning that SKT needs to be in control, meaning they have tempo at 23 minutes. The same thing goes for Samsung. If they want to win, they should be in control of the map at 23 minutes. And if they're in control of the map at 23 minutes, they're able to go ahead and get that Fire Dragon. Remember, this is not impossible for Samsung to do because SKT is holding on to a Rift Herald, meaning the gold lead is smaller than it could be. And the gold lead right now is about 1,500. Or maybe a little bit more. Let me just go ahead and play that. No, it's 800. That's really good for Samsung. So this could flip easily. SKT does not necessarily have a lot of tempo. The only tempo that they do have is Trundle being able to push a side lane like this. Look at that tower. This is with 1 minion wave. All right. +1 tower for SKT. They still have Rift Herald, and now they're up another 1,000 gold, so they're up 2,000. So looking a little bit more difficult on the terms of Samsung, but certainly doable. Let's go ahead and analyze build paths real quick. We have Sejuani has her jungle item. You see Righteous Glory coming out from Cho'Gath, so Cho'Gath is ready to get picks. And then you see the first item coming out from Malzahar, and you see Ardent Sensor from Lulu. So they are definitely in a state of the game where if they catch anybody out, that person is in extreme danger, just because Malzahar is actually able to melt pretty much anyone, even Gragas. Maybe not Trundle if Trundle has ult running, but definitely they could kill Gragas with Malzahar and any other chain CC. As for the side of SKT, you see an Athens and an Ardent Sensor coming out from Faker, so they are definitely ready to look for fights. They have Trundle on dedicated split pusher, which is why he has so much magic resist. Or actually, most of this is MR. You don't really need armor against this team. This is the only physical damage coming out is going to be Varus Q and his autos. So that's not going to be incredibly threatening. But he is going to be a dedicated split pusher and going into that lane. As I said before, when Trundle was top side, it'd be better if Trundle was bottom side. And they went ahead and they made that rotation. And now they have their bottom lane moving up towards the top side, and they have Karma taking care of mid lane. I don't know what they're doing with this. Actually, I think they're just letting Tristana get fed. They just want to farm Tristana into her Infinity Edge. And if Tristana gets her Infinity Edge, then they'll be ready to set up fights. SKT go ahead and they set up Rift Herald right now. I'm assuming that it ran out of time. And because it ran out of time, they're going to be moving forward on this mid lane. Tristana is going to be rotating back towards the mid lane in a safe position. And as long as SKT remain in the lane, the Rift Herald should be able to hit the enemy tower. SKT go for an engage. A return engage comes on to Blank, but Blank immediately has to jump out, and QV teleports in, and QV is able to take out Huni with his ultimate. The Rift Herald does not end up hitting enemy mid tower, but let's go ahead and take a look at this again, because this is definitely a turning point for the game, and it's probably due to execution. So SKT are in this lane with Rift Herald, and the enemy team are set up as 5. Now Tristana's actually quite far away, and what's key about this moment is that Tristana is in enemy vision. Meaning that while Tristana is not at the fight, Samsung knows right now that if they engage, they will be 5v4. So you actually see the engage coming onto Ruler, and Ruler actually has an amazing flash that takes him right out of the Gragas ult, and then he's not in danger. Blank is immediately returned onto and flashes away, but he still gets hit by Sejuani ult, and the Cho'Gath teleport is coming in. Tristana has now made it to the fight, and Tristana is aids in killing Sejuani, but Cuvée is able to nuke Huni with his ultimate, as well as with the Malzahar ult. So lots of damage coming out. But as you can see, if they're able to kill the enemy tank that easily, or one of the enemy tanks that easily, then they are able to turn around this game. Remember, this is only a 2,000 gold lead, and that Rift Herald, which arguably could have been used more effectively. If they spawned the Rift Herald here instead of here, Tristana would have been mid lane before the Rift Herald got here. So all they had to do was have Gragas back off and spawn it here, right in the base by the inhibitor. And if they had done that, they would have been fine. They would have had a lot more tempo. And they would have been a lot scarier. So they're big problem coming out from SKT in even just a small mistake as that. They also decided to jump on the Ruler with Leona ult and Gragas ult at the same time, which is arguably a bad idea, because Varus has Flash. If you're going to try and kill someone who has Flash, you should try hitting them with one spell at a time. One major spell at a time. So that you don't overcommit, and if you don't overcommit, then you won't end up. The fight can't be turned. Fight has less chance percentage of being overturned. And remember, this wasn't a fight that went completely either way, but it was definitely not good for SKT, and it's a 1-for-1 trade. So it's not the best option. Bang getting a little bit of free damage onto the enemy mid lane tower. Karma goes top lane, and Trundle goes bottom lane. So you're probably just going to see Trundle push out. Trundle actually has teleport, so he has no problem staying in the side lane, and Cuvée does not have teleport. So SKT might be wanting to set up a 1-3-1 and have Baron pressure, and it looks like that's exactly what they're doing. Wolf looks for a flash Q onto Varus. Bang follows up, lots of damage coming onto Varus, but Varus is able to put damage on the Bang. Malzahar ult comes out onto Huni, but Huni was able to ult before. No, he still has Subjugate. So they're able to go out pretty easily. I guess Huni has Adaptive Helm. If Huni has Adaptive Helm right now, then he's fine. I just can't see the items, so I can't tell if he has Adaptive Helm. But if you have Adaptive Helm, you pretty much can't get killed by Malzahar. So SKT, what do? Gragas E into Crown. Crown's going to be taken out by Bang. Wolf and Huni are going to go on to Ambition. Bang's going to follow up. Flash coming out from Huni and Flash coming out from Ambition. Blank going into the top lane. Faker's going to be aggressing on the Cuvée. Cuvée looks really tanky. You see 5 people running into the top lane. Cuvé's going to be looking to stall for as much time as he can. And SKT is going to be going on to a Baron possibly after this. And you see Ambition and Core JJ are actually trying to deny as much vision as possible, and maybe they might want to go for a steal here. No, they're not going to take it. They give SKT Baron, they take it. So again, let's watch that again. Flash Q from Wolf. Remember, that's a confirmed spell. And that's one of the benefits of Leona, is because she's very simple, her abilities are very easy to confirm. So Flash Q is actually undodgeable. So there's nothing Varus actually could have done about that engage. Varus gets a lot of damage onto Bang, but he wasn't able to kill Bang quickly enough because I don't think Varus has finished his second item yet. And even if he did, it would have been very close. Yeah, he has not finished. He just now finished his second item. Now you see a Baroned up SKT with a 4.5k gold lead, which is, remember, this is what I call tipping point. Meaning, if Samsung makes any more mistakes, they are not able to win the game, or at least they are not able to win the game without extreme countermeasures being placed. We've seen big comebacks before, and it's very possible because they have a very, 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 very late game team. Very late, and I mean, Lulu's really good in the mid game, but still arguably good in the late. So SKT go ahead and they say, all right, we're control of the map, we can control this fire dragon. So they get this fire dragon for free, and they send, looks like they're sending Trundle back up to the top lane, because maybe after they push mid lane with 3 people, they're going to rotate into the bottom lane. That looks exactly like what they're doing. They go ahead and get bottom lane turret. Now the gold lead has increased to about 6.7 thousand. So they probably just rotate 5 into mid lane. Now they back first and they get items, and then they rotate 5 into mid lane. Baron buff just now disappears. Tristana's going to be pushing top lane, and they're trying to take control of this blue side jungle. And if they take control of the blue side jungle, it denies the enemy blue, and it also it makes it very easy for them to push here and be able to converge into the jungle. And if they converge into the jungle, they're able to fight. You also see 2 adaptive helms coming out from SKT, so that's very accurate. SKT is in every situation right now ready to fight, although it's not easily apparent that Samsung is also in a decent position. I mean, they do have Warmugs on Cho'Gath, so Cho'Gath's ult really hurts right now. They do have Void Staff on Malzahar. They do have a 2-item Varus, so he's very strong, and they still have Lulu, so they have some anti-assassin potential. Really, the only thing that I could see going wrong for SKT is if they dive. And if they dive, they could really mess something up. Or if they do something similar to last time, where they waste too many spells on someone who has Flash, whereas instead you want to try and get out that Flash using as little resources as possible, gaining a lot with little. Of course, that's what Samsung wants to do as well. They want to gain a lot with little, but at this point in the game, any team fight that's swung will gain a lot, and it will gain a lot of tempo. SKT pile 5 mid, there's the Gragas ult, Flash comes down onto Ruler, Leona ult comes down onto Ruler, Sejuani ult goes down onto Gragas, lots of damage going down onto Gragas. Huni's going to be in the front line, Huni gets ulted by Malzahar, Leona goes into the fight, Cho'Gath's going to be down at 20 HP, flashes out of the fight and he lives, Wolf's going to flash over the wall, nobody dies. So if it wasn't easily apparent before that Samsung actually had a lot of fighting potential, now it is easily apparent. They do have fighting potential, although Cuvée might take a minute here before he's able to protect. Flash E coming out from Blank to provoke an engage. Huni's tanking the tower, and Blank actually died. So this is exactly what I said like a minute ago. I wonder if Gragas flashes under tower and then it goes badly for SKT. That did happen. So now you see a big problem because Baron's coming up, which could sway the game instantly. Remember, getting Baron and then Baron plus teamfight. plus Fire Dragon, because the next dragon's Fire Dragon. If Samsung got all 3 of these, they win the game. If SKT got all 3 of these, they win the game. But if you get the Baron or you get the team fight, then you get the other 2. If you get the Fire Dragon, you don't necessarily get the other 2. So let's go ahead and figure this out. SKT send Bang onto the Fire Dragon to take it very swiftly so that they don't lose pressure on Baron. This is very good, but also very bad by Samsung. It's very bad that Samsung did not have any vision. Because if Samsung had vision for that, then they could have contested it as well. Or they could have forced a fight on Baron 5v4 while Tristana was here. So they could 5v4 here. And they would arguably win that. We're seeing like weird stuff going on. Wait, whoa, is this a new fight? This is a new fight. Oh wait, no, this is the same fight. Okay. Now all the pressure on the map is on Baron and mid lane tower. Samsung's mid lane tower to be specific. SKT go ahead and they deny vision. They're preparing for Baron. They have Huni pushing mid lane with his Ravenous Hydra, and Huni's extremely tanky. Go ahead and look at Huni's build. He's got Frozen Heart, Adaptive Helm, and he's got more magic resist, which is going to be a Spirit Visage. And arguably when he gets Spirit Visage, he will be absolutely unkillable when he gets ult. Unless you use... No, they don't have Gargoyle Stoneplate on Shogoth, so pretty unkillable. Ambition scoping out the Baron. The Baron's actually at 3,000 health. SKT back off the Baron. Leona ult goes on to Ruler. Gragas ult goes on to Ruler, but Tristana ult goes on to Ruler, and Ruler's now in the back line. Shogoth takes down Tristana, and Shogoth gets the Rupture onto Leona. Now it's going to be 5v3 in the jungle, and SSG is going to be looking at the Baron. Now, the only thing that could go well for SKT right now is if they grab the Baron, because if SKT lose the Baron, they risk losing the game. Because this Baron actually gives 1,500 gold, then you'd see the gold leads trickle down to about 4,000. Gragas entered too quickly, and when the gold leads 4,000 and they have a Baron, they can actually outscale and they can win the game. So if Samsung can win in 3 minutes, which they can 1-3-1, by the way, or they can 1-4. They can do either because they have both teleports up and they can do whatever they want. But if they win in 3 minutes, or if they get a significant gold lead, in 3 mins, they win. Let's go ahead and take a look at this team fight again. I think they're going to slow it down for us, so you don't have to listen to my very rapid monotone shoutcasting. But the Leonel comes down, Varus responds, Ambition's in there tanking, Shogoth deletes Tristana, Leona follows, and then Righteous Glory comes out to chase. And because once Tristana dies, SKT does not have damage. Trist is the primary carry. The same effect happens is if you kill Malzahar and Varus is alive. Varus will do a lot of damage. Karma will do a lot of damage, but they're not going to do so much damage that they're going to be very scary. So let's go ahead and watch how Samsung actually closes this game. Wait, whoa, hold on. Ambition looks at Blank in the jungle. Blank throws down his ultimate. Core JJ gets almost deleted, and then the Malzahar ult comes down and locks up Blank for 1.8 seconds and goes ahead and deletes him. Cho'Gath goes ahead and gets a Rupture onto Faker and goes ahead and eats him up with Feast. And then they charge mid lane inhibitor, and arguably, I mean, 30-second death timer, 50-second death timer, the game's over. Man. Alright, I rushed this VOD review, and I apologize to anyone who did not like me rushing this VOD review, but, wait, does this go longer? What's happening? SKT did a... Alright, SKT got a Elder Dragon, which changes the thing slightly, because they have an open Nexus, so they can't really do anything. Like, they can charge forward in mid lane as 5, but Elder Dragon is a 2-minute buff, meaning they have 2 minutes to win. 2 minutes to win it. That's like particularly unfortunate for SKT. SKT really could have won this game, but they needed to play a lot better. Well, that's obvious. They needed to have better warding. They need to have better rotations. Their rotations need to be quicker. They needed to understand what their win conditions were. They needed to not be too hasty, especially with the Rift Herald. That Rift Herald play changed a lot in the mid game, because had that Rift Herald actually increased their lead and increased their lead to 3,500 and possibly even to 4,500, they could have used that to get Baron and Fire Dragon, and then with Baron, Fire plus 8,000 gold lead, they could have won the game. But they didn't do that, so it is going to be very sad for SKT. There's also that play where Faker, they could have pushed bot lane tower, or at least contested bot lane tower. They weren't going to take it because Samsung was rotating towards it. But Faker got caught out in the jungle, and he just walked through the jungle by himself. No support, no tank, no help. Just through it. How many minutes? They have 30 seconds on this fucking Elder buff right now. They have to engage, and they can't because SSG has a tower. Blank has to, and Blank doesn't have flash either. If Blank had flash, he could E, flash, and then R someone, but that's not necessarily what they need to do. Alright, and then there it is. Elder Dragon's going away. There it is, it's gone. So let's find it. Where did they close the game? Come on. All they gotta do is charge mid. They don't even have to do anything else. Oh, they killed Faker? What the hell happened? Okay. Not fight. Okay, hold on. Why is this happening? Okay, Faker... okay, never mind. I didn't see that before. Faker got flash ulted by Ruler, which is arguably, that was an amazing ult. That was great. He responds with damage. Leona comes to respawn. Ruler gets nuked, but then he gets Lulu ulted. Huni jumps into the fight. Huni's gonna live for a fucking long-ass time because, wow, that was a bad flash. He barely gets out. But nothing can really be done. The Cho'Gath's too late game at this point, and so is the Sejuani. So that if they can't kill the carries, like they can't do anything. They have to kill at least one carry to kill the other, and they couldn't. Malzahar's backed and came back. Now he has a Rabadon's. Yeah, very sad. Very sad for SKT, but again, Faker got caught out really weird. Blank performed a lot better in the jungle than Peanut. Blank 10 times out of 10. Peanut. Blank 10 times out of 10 better than Peanut. At least in this series. So, upon further speculation, SKT's wording compared to SSG, SKT is very poor. I think SSG bought almost 2 times as many wards as SKT. It was actually crazy. Also, SKT did not draft very well in the first 2 games. I will say that SKT draft game 3 was very strong. Very, very strong. But it's it was not enough. It was not enough because they weren't able to capitalize on the leads that they needed to do, and they weren't able to capitalize because Samsung has just amazing zone control with vision. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's all I gotta say for now. But thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this short little series on what happened, and this is the peak of gameplay for the year 2017, Season 7. So, what an amazing series. Even if it was a 3-0, it was incredible gameplay, better than we've ever seen before, and Samsung, a new world champion, being crowned, and taking over a dynasty that SKT set up before. Very amazing. Anyway, like, comment, I'll answer any questions in the comments. You can email me for private coaching, for solo queue, and I can do that in Spanish or English. I don't do any other languages, I'm sorry, but I will be available most of the time, contacted by email or Twitter. Thank you. Have a wonderful day, guys.